Yeah, let's go.
Okay, so let me introduce tonight's meeting. My name is Paul Goldstein. I am the chair of the Waterfront Parks and Cultural Committee. And with me tonight, let me just, you have members of the community board, of course, but the two people I will point out in particular are Andrew Zelter. He's the co-chair and he's the person in the room who'll be conducting business. And Onedge James is our very able and thankful for all the things she does as our staff member. So we have 3 items on tonight's agenda, and without any further ado, let's get underway. The first item is the Battery Field House, and we have somebody who's come to this community board many times, and she's a friend, Claire Weiss, who's going to present, and I know Hope Cohen may be joining us also on a remote basis. She's the Chief Operating Officer of the Battery Conservancy. Oh, yes, she is online. Okay, so do you want to begin, Claire or Hope?
Yes, I would love to begin. And Paul, thank you. Great seeing you online. I'm going to ask Hope if she's in a non-noisy place, just to explain why this project is happening now, why it's important to the battery.
Sorry, just before we turn it over,
Sorry.
can I ask as a matter of sort of protocol? If you have questions, please note them down so we can get through the entire presentation and then we'll come back to questions. That works?
Thank you.
Hi, I think I should just, am I unmuted? Can you hear me?
You can hear you clearly.
Okay, great. So I am Hope Cohen of the Battery Conservancy. We have been working on getting this project done for at least 10 years, that it's really vital to have decent public restrooms on that end of the park, and particularly to serve the playground. As I said, for many years, many elected officials over the years, council members and Manhattan Borough and borough presidents have put funds toward this project, rehabilitating this old limestone building that was originally a public restroom back to being public restrooms. We felt very strongly that they should be serving the playground population and securely, and pushed very hard for them to have gender neutral and family oriented, I don't know what you call them, Claire, the water closets, I guess. Facilities. Okay. So over the years, the Parks Department has looked to improve its office space, and we have some office space in what is quite the maze in the existing building. So there's that function. There's rehabilitating the building as a whole, making it more resilient. But first and foremost, from the Conservancy's point of view, is the importance of bringing these family restrooms to the public.
Great. Thank you, Hope. So this is the public design presentation draft. In order to make the next meeting, we're really hoping to be able to explain this and get any comments, but hopefully your approval to do preliminary. We got a conceptual approval with comments. This is, even though it seems straightforward, this is for parks, this is for the battery, update the systems. This structure actually holds all of the utilities for the water feature, for many of the lights in the box. And so it's actually, and it's right over an MTA spare tunnel. So it's actually it's taken a long time, and it still will. And also, you know, that many of these buildings and parks aren't don't have the right certificate of occupancy. They were all, so it's really a very challenging project technically. In addition, in the very last slide, I want to mention that Sea Glass, which just celebrated its 10th year anniversary, and I felt close to it since we designed it, has never had space for its staff and concessionaire to sell tickets, have lunch breaks, or anything. So this will provide that also for Sea Glass. So it's really in all things. Oh, yeah. I'm not going to, there is a resiliency project going on. So even though these are required slides, we have to design it as though there's no resiliency project. I want to point that out because ADA access, and you guys know where this is. So ADA access is challenging. It's already a step up. So we're regrading around it and doing as much permeable surface as possible. So this, and I'm going to go right to the floor plan. This is in Playscape. So are all of you familiar with Playscape, the playground that got so, and we want to not damage any of the trees that are there. So it has to be done pretty carefully, which is why we came up with it. Here it is, the building. There we go. That should be familiar. Now, a very similar building. We renovated on the other end of the park, only for public washroom because it wasn't in the playground, and did a male, female. And since then, we really tried to champion, especially for families, the ability for a father to be able to supervise his daughter needing, like that really for ones that are focused, younger people, there's an opportunity. And these are the existing things that we've designed in the Battery under Maury Price's leadership to try and make it part of the park. So this is the final project of this set. And Star Whitehouse is the landscape architect on it. And these are some images of Playscape, which they were the landscape architects for. So this we really felt was, so this is the design. And this is just showing the overall. So there's it's spiral shape like Sea Glass. What is spiral shape is it's adding around this box, which is the building, with a very light structure because this has high restrictions on the slab. And the idea is to grow vines and have the kind of archway into it so that it would be a green building. And the screen that goes up, we cover up the new mechanical systems for the building. The big window facing Sea Glass is ticketing. And I'm going to show you the plan. Oops, I'm going to skip 2 slides. There's some models so you kind of understand that it's a screen and extended room around. Comfort station. I'm going to try this. There. So this is the roof plan, but you can see kind of, it does not, right now there's a big container in front of this building. So it does not take up any more room than in fact you see today. It's amazing how the scale is. It removes one of the benches to give an entrance, and it has a green roof. And then it extends the paving and Playscape into this so that really it should be seamless and make it look like it was always there. Star Whitehouse is where the landscape architect, who are the landscape architects, but Playscape was providing an extension of those plants around this. There we go. Including the plants, that last slide was for the green roof. Okay, here it is today. And we tried to show in red the areas of disturbance. So you can see that really all of this area is behind a fence because this was already anticipated as a project. And that's where the container is, the red. This is the floor plan. And so this really importantly is being negotiated with parks, with their offices to provide a huge amount, including the chase they wanted behind all the plumbing and an entrance for kids and families that you see into it, and there's a little bench, and you go from one path in the playground out, so that it's really very visible, and yet there are gates, so this can be completely closed down at night. this is the section through it. So you can see the existing Parks restroom, which is now offices, not a restroom, and the extension of both. And in the family washroom area, we're doing stalls and a sink that are children height, and then 2 family where they have diaper changing and everything that are all adult fixtures. So the goal is really to provide both. And I'm going to show you that in a minute. So if I come in, I'm going to see a sink, shared sink in the middle, and just 2 stalls that are, like quick for little kids, because that little kid height. And then those other closed doors, and again, Parks would like these to be cut top and bottom, so that you can see people's feet and safe enough. And then the 2 family washrooms. So it's really symmetrical. And then let me show you. So these are the renderings. So that east elevation is what you see from the park. So the screen has a big opening visible, but that we're hoping that the vines will kind of grow in a heart shaped around it. And then sometimes the vines go in front of the solid wall, in other cases they don't. So you really do see the original box, but there's a screen around. And these are renderings if this helps from play space. And we showed it without the vines being floating around so everyone gets an idea. All washable, drains everywhere, water accessible. And it's actually a really tiny project. I know in renderings it looks large. And these are the materials. So again, we don't want to use tile because cleaning grout gets dirt. So we're using this alcoholic finish, which is like cladding for exterior. So a kind of really has a lot of recycled plastic in it, but it's very, you can wash the whole thing down. The screen is metal mesh, kind of like subway grading, but lighter. And it'll have and then in areas that we're trying to make solider, there's going to be a perforated metal panel that's like the perforated panel that is on the playscape today, that it's really a kind of a water pattern, like an ocean pattern. So it'd be that. And then for the ticketing booth at the very end, you're looking at frameless glass, a little speaker, and an opening for the ticketing. I think I'm almost at the end. That may be it. That's it. I'm at the end. I also brought printed copies because I brought the text too and the form we filled out, just because I think it might be helpful when, if there's any. So there's 2 copies of everything here.
Thank you very much. Let's open it up. Questions, Wendy?
Yeah, it's a great design. It's going to be a big improvement in the space. I was curious, it looks like it's just the mesh and like open to the air where the bathrooms are and the sink. Does that mean the plumbing gets turned off in the winter? Since there's no, I actually, when you showed me the design, I was like, oh, it's going to be like a solid room, but that.
Well, the original intent was.
Yeah.
And that the stalls, because we have an insulated back against
Right,
it.
that would be heated.
So that's heated,
Yeah.
that the family, originally, those were gonna have like a window and a transom, so you can, if there's motion, you could see inside, and so that those could be open in the winter.
Uh-huh.
Things don't freeze that, as in it could be monitored. These are all gonna be heat traced, but but Parks really was adamant about having it open top and bottom, which means that it will have to be shut off in the winter.
Why are they so adamant? Because that just seems heat inefficient. It seems, honestly, little kids are so tiny, I just, yeah, it just doesn't seem logical to
Yeah.
keep it
So we
open
didn't-
year round.
So in a way, we just thought, okay, look, it's a really great chase. It's going to be insulated. So the maintenance and operations of this, since we're heat tracing, it could be almost through the year with some exceptions.
I don't know if you knew that it was gonna be shut off in the winter. if they put that.
Well, if you do and it goes below a certain temperature, you have to put it.
Yeah, I mean, that just seems like a,
So when they
Unfortunate.
require the bottom door installed in a certain height, it's because of certain things that happen in bathrooms that we have to be able to react to. Say someone is in distress, they need to see if there's someone in there that has something with them or they're having issues. We have to be able to see that. And it's because of a lot of judgments that we've been founded. So it's just for us to be able to react to things that are going on and see what's going on a little bit too, is actually be able to maintain and
that seems like then that whole structure should be with a wall and heated in the whole space if you're gonna have like inside stalls. I mean, I can just
yeah,
see,
the heat trace usually works.
Yeah, I mean, it's really, kids are in the playground, so it is meant to be an outdoor washroom, kind of like you go out to the Rockaways, you'll see that we did a similar one off the Rockaway Beach, where you're basically have a sink and you have stalls, and then the family restrooms are more enclosed. But
I mean, Blockway Market Park has, you know, that as well, but there's doors to go into the room. So that
Yes.
they're heated because there's
Yeah.
doors. It just doesn't seem logical here.
but like,
The design has the stall outside, where most times the stall's inside, right?
there's bigger issues with the battery because they have the inside stalls. They're very hard actually to see what's going on. Having something open like this will be much easier. Plus, it's within the play space. It's within a enclosure. So it's going to be harder for someone, especially they can close the gates and just open them certain times of the day when kids are playing. They don't have to keep them open all the time. There's public restrooms right off the path where the restaurant is for adults and other people. So they're literally right on the other side of the path. So it's not, and those are they're closed in rooms.
So you're talking about the one in the restaurant?
Yes, exactly. And I'm sure there'll be a concession coming up for that and they'll be improved. But
Okay.
these really are meant for kids who are climbing around outdoors. So in a sense, it's much easier for them to not take up your clothes. You're outdoors, you're in more of an outdoor space.
Okay.
And they can climb under the door.
And they can climb under the door.
Which means they won't lock themselves in.
Right. So it's very much more like, like state parks or otherwise what you do is you have the enclosure and then the doors would be just kept jacked open all the time. And that isn't necessarily that indoor outdoor feel that I think the battery was really trying, which is why we have a skylight too, is to just get the sense.
Yeah, it's a great
That is-
design. Yeah, absolutely. I just know that people want to use it all year round because it's going to be so fabulous, you know, that's the thing.
But I mean, hopefully, because again, we're fully insulating the building, we're heat tracing it. As long as someone is monitoring that it isn't like literally, but they can easily go into the chillers, shut off the pipes and shut it off for absolute extremely cold weather.
Okay, thank you.
Eric?
Yes, so you mentioned Sea Glass, so now they're gonna have a place to sell tickets. Are they gonna be paying more rent? Was there any negotiation?
I would leave that hope. Are you still on? There's gonna have to be a new, I think there's a new concession coming up, just like for the restaurant for Sea Glass. And it's not only tickets, but they do have space, but it's that big container box, like that
Can
shipping.
Hope answer, please?
Yes.
Yes, so actually, there is a new contract. It is with the same concessionaire where they won the RFP, and we are in the process of the final negotiation of the contract. But the winning proposal does include higher fees to the battery. The question of a facility for the operator was actually a concern 10 years ago when we did an RFP, and again now, that all potential operators found it, let's say, challenging not to have a ticket office, a secure place for their employees and cash, because a lot of the business has been cash, although that's obviously changing over time. So it's been an issue for a long time, which is why they did expand into the container. They had been scrunched into the basement of the carousel, which is really a problem because that's where all the mechanicals are. So they'd been scrunched in there. Then we found a container for them, and that's why that container is there. And this project will, thank God, get rid of the container, but provide better facilities for the services of Sea Glass, and those are the front-facing ticket selling function, which already exists, a secure place for employees and cash, and a break room. The other thing about Sea Glass is it is not climate controlled. So in the heat of the summer, the employees really suffer and need a place. And in the cold of the winter also, while we have limited hours, the carousel is open to some degree 12 months of a year. So it can be weather challenging. And we do try to keep it open as much as possible. So the employees of the concessionaire do need a warm or cold or dry place to take breaks ever so often.
Other questions?
Well, okay, great, that's good, as long as it's, if the vendor is getting additional public space, as long as it's included in their renegotiated contract with the city concession. And then with the vines, I'm concerned, and with the mesh, won't it obstruct visibility to the bathrooms? I mean, to that enclosed area? I'm thinking from a security standpoint. Here we have the vines that, as it is, but vines tend to grow, they can become thick and obscure the view for security purposes.
Well, I think the opportunity, again, this is an architect's rendering on lens, is that the battery is the horticultural maintainer. So I know that their intentions are to kind of get the vines to grow a certain way on this. And so really, originally, actually, they were like, we just we will pick the plants, work with, but it really felt important to kind of offer that, like get the landscape architect and playscape involved, but they intend to be they will be doing the planning. So it won't be unlike the building, which will be built by the contractor, the battery intends to do the planting here themselves.
As we did for the playscape itself.
Right. Which is different than a lot of city projects, so they can control that.
And then you mentioned about the cladding, you said it'll have some recycled plastics instead of using tile. Is that a proven, not technology, but material to have longevity?
Yeah, it's used a lot in heavy-duty institutional and kitchen environments. We ever see where like the wall is just one solid surface? And that's really to avoid having grout. And we use it successfully in basically sterile and other environments.
I'm thinking White Castle has that. Is that, they have that?
Yes, they don't have a nicely colored version of it, but yes.
But then I'm thinking as a drawback is that if somebody scratches it, then you have to replace the panel. It's
Well,
not.
the kind of the higher quality version of that is used on exterior cladding for buildings all over the place. So it is true, it'll have warranties. And what was nice about this material is that it basically, we're gonna detail it like it's an exterior cladding, so you can just, like like a swimming pool or anything else. You just can wash the whole thing.
Just worried about vandals and, but
I think it's always an issue, but for example, if we use metal cladding or tile, it's so easy to damage it, actually. And remember just a reminder to myself too, to explain this better, the weight is a really big issue over the MTA tunnel. So we really had to figure out how to do something that is washable, that we're not using concrete.
it was fascinating when you said that, because I know which tunnel it is. So are you keeping the same slab or you?
We're keeping the same slab.
Okay.
But what we have to do is there's a special slab technology that basically will let us, but we're also cantilevering off the existing slab. So we can't have too much weight in this screen instead.
Because I would have loved, I mean, my preference would be to at least elevate the building as much as you can within tolerance of the ADA due to the flooding area. I know that there's a flood resiliency project, but it's always nice to have higher elevation.
Well, we are grading up to the floor level where it is now, and then we're grading up on the outside, but it's actually, we looked at actually demolishing the building, if that would make more sense. And because of all of these factors in permitting, it really didn't make any sense. So this is really very much a adaptive reuse of what's there. And, you know, in a lot of ways, I think it's really great to keep the original building, but it just takes a lot of detailing so everything can move because of the tunnel and because of each of these pieces has to be detailed so the screen moves independently from structure. So that's
Thank you.
Great, Richard?
I think it's a lovely, beautiful design, too. And we've always been a big fan of adaptive reuse, so all of the community board committees, sure. I'm curious, you said that you had to do the design ignoring the fact that there's a resiliency project. What does that mean and why?
well, we can't, when we file, we can't say, oh, like this, so we have to, this is all, explain this. We are gonna have flood vents in the building and it's gonna be all as though water could go through it. Now, when the resiliency project is there, you wouldn't need to wet floodproof, but we are wet floodproofing because we can't, at this point, until the resiliency project is done and FEMA is remapped, we have to, the strategy here is to wet floodproof. And so that's why everything has to be outdoor quality. You have to have flood vents. We are avoiding sheetrock in all cases, that kind of stuff.
So it's extra cost, but
So it is, I think it's the right way to do it anyways, because this is, again, we're in a park, this is an outdoor building. If floods happen, if you break a pipe too. So I think it's just, you know, belts and suspenders, but it would be more affordable if you didn't have to do any of the wet flood. That's absolutely true.
and what's the treatment on the roof?
So the roof is a green roof, it's mechanical equipment, and it's a sedum green roof. It's a planted roof.
And the cost of this and timing?
We have the planned cost is a little over 6 million.
Funded by?
Oh, geez, it's.
It has grown a great deal over the years. As I said, it's been the effort to put this project together has gone on for over 10 years. We really started it, and this is where the elected officials were so generous in making their earmarks because of the need for the family restrooms. The Parks Department felt very strongly that they could not give up their footprint for Lower Manhattan in this space. So that added significant expense to it being, instead of being just a public restroom, now it had to have this this additional functionality, the largest part of the building. Let me make clear that the Battery Conservancy, with private funding, is building or is funding the ticket booth portion. That is not coming out of city funds. The city funds are for the public restroom and for the remake of the interior for locker rooms and offices.
And timing of the project?
Well, the hope is that by the end of the year, we will have all of our documents ready to go to Parks, for Parks to bid it out, which is a process because it will be publicly bid for Parks. But that's we're really aiming to have this permitted and basically ready for Parks' final review and bid packaging by the end of the year, which they would do at the beginning.
And then
Would you confirm that that's our game plan?
The sooner the better. That's the latest I've heard. Yes. That's the most recent I've heard.
Yeah, and that's me being cautious.
So I want to go online. I think, Tammy, you have a question?
Thanks. I just, so the building is significantly larger than the old structure, which I understand is now to house all the different types of things. Was there a reason that it wasn't looked at to try and minimize the height in bulk versus, I mean, it's very large comparatively, and it's very tall comparatively.
Yeah, can I make a couple before Claire gets technical? There are a couple of things I want to point out about this. Remember that the original hope, the original way that we, the Conservancy, saw this building, and that we successfully advocated for the public funds for this building, was for the public restroom. And our original thought was that that was going to be what the building was. You know, that's what it had been in the olden days.
Yeah.
And then that would have fit into the footprint of the building, because that was what it was way back when. That's what it was designed to be. However, over the decades, it became a facility to support staff. Mainly Parks Department staff, also Conservancy staff with lockers and some offices. And the Parks Department felt very strongly that that was the core reason for this structure, and they needed to have this structure rehabbed to serve that purpose. So with that as now the mandate for the existing structure, we had to find a way and a place to put what we consider to be the key purpose of this project, which is the public restrooms. And in order to do that, we had to go outside the building envelope. I would say on the question of height, that height question goes to resiliency issues, because now all kinds of mechanicals that used to be lower down have to be on the roof. And so WXY came up with a beautiful way of screening that equipment.
So the roof is, I heard Claire say it was supposed to be a green roof. But
This is green roof.
But that doesn't mean that it's a green roof that people access in terms of a view corridor or experiential. It's just a landscaped roof, correct?
I think that, just to explain, Tammy, that because a lot of the spiral is outside, the actual interior addition is really only that box, starting with the chase and adding to it, and the ticketing swerve, wedge, triangle, which actually doesn't take up any more area and a little bit less than the container sitting there. So we felt like by making this an exterior washroom rather than an interior one, it also kept the mass of what is actually the bulk of the building, because the rest of the perception, this area is all behind a fence right now. It's no kids access it. It's in a planting bed. So from a point of view of the public, it's actually now access to a new shaded area that they didn't have access to. I also want to add that this is lower than the big slide, the largest play structure. And one of the reasons by code, we need to do the green room, but the opportunity was kids will actually see it from the play structure. So from our perspective, it's like people think sea glass is really big. It's actually really small, but the geometry of it makes it seem it's more special. But actually, when you look at it on a map, it's really tiny. And I feel like this will be a bit the opposite, because it's sheer and with vines, there'll be more camouflage so that sea glass really feels like the attraction. And this is much more just like a planted, almost like for kids, like an arbor. It's like you're going into an arbor. And if anything, it will feel kind of like a planted area instead of feeling like a building. That's our goal, is that it actually complements sea glass is really like a solid spiral by being something that's more like a space.
Right. You're very good at explaining the details of what you're selling. No offense intended, but when I take a look at it, it's interesting that it's a match to sea glass, and we certainly, will sea glass be moving with the resiliency plans and the battery
Oh,
hope?
no, it's protected, like that, the whole
Hope?
resiliency plan, it would be.
No, I mean,
No.
it is very, very early days on that project. Who knows if it'll ever happen? In any case, I have, in talking with that team about this question, they have assured me that when you see the plan, everybody, let me just explain what Tammy is referring to. There is a project called the Battery Tie-In that's part of the Lower Manhattan Resiliency. It connects the Battery Park City project with what's happening down the East River. And one of the possible, in fact, the preferred alignments is going through the battery. If you look at DDC's diagram of that path through the battery, it shows it going through the woodland and potentially hitting sea glass. But if you look at that path, it's what I like to call a hurricane path. There's a line, and then there's like the 12 feet on either side or 20 feet on either side that it could be. So if they go that way, there is room. They have assured me there is room to make it go that path go around sea glass. If it is necessary, it can go around sea glass and still be within the hurricane path. Or you could call it the eclipse path. If hurricane is too disturbing in this context, it's like an eclipse path.
Well, we designed the project, and we're gonna know when I'm not aware of there being even a technical possibility to move sea glass. That would have to be a whole new construction.
I never told you about it, Claire, because I knew it would upset you, and it's not going to happen.
Okay.
Well, it's so far off, and don't worry about it.
Well, anyway, this is set up for it the way it is. It's true. Like, it's not going to match. And maybe in a way, that's why I think it's from a low embodied carbon point of view. Like, in a
Claire,
way, it is.
Claire, do you have a human scale view? Not this. Because this, you're showing
There's perspectives that we showed.
Correct.
That are based on photographs too. So it's there. That's what it looks like.
It's
like this. Yeah.
And so I guess my comment and my question still remain the same. It does look really, really large to me from a human scale perspective when you're walking down. It is a building that's as large as, if not symmetrically large feeling to what's over with sea glass. So it's large in the space. It's just my perspective and perspective. Everyone has a different one.
Yeah.
Tammy, anything else?
I would have liked to have seen a little bit of a larger pullback to see what it looked like from human scale, more contextuality to the park. I understand it's roped off now, but and it's only taking one planting, one planter bed kind of thing, plus some of the walkway that's around it. But a more pulled back perspective.
You see pictures there.
Yeah,
so
I mean, the horrible old building is a horrible old building, although it does have some really cool grills on it. And I remember the window grills, and I remember the thing that I sort of liked was it almost disappeared into the landscape around when it was flush and vibrant. And this building does not disappear in the landscape. And that was my only perspective and comment.
Great, thank you, Tammy. Eric?
So what was this building before?
Well, it is right now used as office, and
Okay.
before it was a public restroom at some point in history. What's still used by parks, right? And by the Battery? Nope.
Yeah,
it's closed.
the way it looks to me, Claire, and it's it does match that one on the Battery Place side. Is I think it was a originally like a Robert Moses era comfort station,
No, it
and
was.
then
So
and
above
then the Parks Department started using it for park maintenance and so forth. I think in the 60s or 70s, and
It still
then
has the doors for girls and boys. It
Not a good
definitely
thing.
was.
yes,
So my-
the signage. But just to because we didn't discuss this. We told you the overall functionality, but I know Claire emphasized that the public restrooms are to be accessed only from the Playscape side. That's part of the whole idea of this, being family restrooms, secure, available only to children and their caregivers who are eligible to come through the playground gate. The staffs of the Conservancy and the Parks Department will be accessing the building from the other side, from the path, the public path side. Those doors that are those closed off doors now, those will become the access points for the maintenance staff.
Hope, does that mean there's no public restrooms at all for people not going to the playground? So if I'm going to
There-
buy my ticket to the Sea Glass and we're all adults, there's no public restroom accessible for adults?
At this point, the public restrooms that are available to everybody are the ones the restaurant concessionaire is responsible for. That's
Which
the
is-
condition. That's the condition now, and that is the condition that would continue to be the case.
But that
The
restaurant
difference here
is
is that we are
restaurant.
adding this new public restroom that, well, there are a lot of
But-
things. One is that it
but-
will be secure for families. The other, second, is that it will be usable and functional for families. The third is that it will, frankly, be maintained better than the restaurant concessionaire maintains the public restrooms currently.
Hope,
We always hope that the Parks Department will hold those concessionaires to account, but I can vouch for us maintaining these restrooms properly.
Hope, we were told by the Parks Department that they are closing that restaurant down due to construction, that restaurant will no longer be operating. And it's not fully open this summer because of the restrictions that the Parks Department put on it. So what public
The
restrooms will be available for the public when the restaurant is gone at the end of
So
this
there-
summer completely?
Yeah, the restrooms are still open.
For now, because they're partially operating only as the outdoor part, but the concessionaire is not going to be there. The Parks Department shut them down. So where are public restrooms for the public?
We have not discussed this with the Parks Department. The question of the restaurant, are they planning? Because we don't know what there could be a lot of plans here. Did they tell you if they're planning to knock the building down, or just that they're not ready to go out to look for a new concessionaire because of the nature of the construction at the moment? That was the last I heard.
Last I heard that the building was going to be reconstructed, and so at the
Okay,
end
so
of
during
the
the period of construction, you're saying those public restrooms would no longer be available.
as soon as that restaurant is out this summer, there's nobody there to take care of public restrooms for the public. That is my concern with the new building, is that if there's no public restrooms over there, then there's,
Find out for you officially.
And then they have to go all the way to the north side.
I just wanted, my question was, or concern is only 4 stalls total. I don't think that's enough. Maybe that's my initial, I don't think that's enough stalls. If you're certain that the bathrooms for adults will be maintained by,
They have to be
Okay.
maintained.
no, by the restaurant, the restaurant, but if it's not, people will find their way into there. So I'm concerned that 4 will not be enough.
The Parks Department should, well, but it's the requirement, whoever is in that building, and the Parks Department has staff, those are bathrooms, they will probably keep maintaining it when the restaurant isn't there. Those are public bathrooms. For adults, they will be maintained. Now, that really doesn't impinge on this because there's public washrooms for people on the main path there. There's only, back to Tammy saying the building was already too big, unless we use the office space inside for public washrooms, that we do, we couldn't make, like, we tried to keep this as small as possible. So with accessibility, this is really the maximum number of stalls that we could get within the limited footprint. Clearly, there's a lot of trade-offs because you have locker space, you have a washroom for park staff, you have a washroom for battery staff. So there was a lot of discussion about how to fund this essential. But I have full hopes that those parks bathrooms, whether there's a restaurant there in the future or not, there will be those bathrooms, washrooms be continued to be maintained and held as public.
But this building is shut due to extensive need for, and it's just not conditions our staff can inhabit this space anymore. It's been in dire need of repair for many years. Just can't tolerate the conditions in there.
Any other questions?
Okay,
Andrew,
Andrew, I had one or two questions. I had my hand up.
Go ahead, Paul.
Said you hope that this will be publicly bid by the end of the year roughly? And
No.
when would, under that scenario, construction take place and be completed?
Their procurement for years.
Yeah, so the idea is to have it ready for procurement, January 2026. You know, we have projects that all over the city that take more than a year to then start construction. So at a minimum, it would be another year to start construction. So that's my understanding of the current schedule. Because of parks and public procurement processes, it will take that long.
It takes like a year to build. Or two.
Yeah.
I always leave a year. Again, there's some even roof repair happening on the building now, actually, because they don't want to further damage it before the start of this, but a year is not a complicated project, but hopefully with many comfort stations being built all over the city, at 2027, that there will be a good and competitive market for doing this kind of work. It's the hopeful idea, because there's just a lot of focus on public restrooms, washrooms, whatever we're calling this theme. We're calling this the Battery Field House because it's sort of a bit of everything as a kind of hub.
Paul, did you have a second question?
Yeah, I just wanted to follow up on what are the hours of the park currently and what are they planned to be? And what are the hours of this field house?
The park as a whole is practically speaking, it is a 24-hour park, which is almost unique in New York City. The playground it's basically 9 to sunset. So obviously longer in the summer than in the winter. And the expectation would be for the restrooms to be open whenever the playground is open.
Okay, so whenever the park is open, the field house will supposedly be open.
Whenever the playground is open.
Okay, that's what I mean. Okay, thank you. That's it for me.
Tammy, were you looking to say something else?
Yeah, we do need to do a resolution for them in support, assumably, if this is a positive feeling around the room, because obviously the playground desperately needs bathrooms, and B, PDC wants a response from the community board. So if I'm going to give them a letter, we do need to have a vote.
Yeah, I would like the committee to do a resolution in support. So I'll put that forward at this stage. If anyone else wants to comment.
So before we go down this path, have we determined we have quorum?
Yes.
Okay,
Second.
so motion is made and seconded.
I'd love to
So-
hear some details of the resolution. If there's things that we liked as a whole, didn't like as a whole, because that's part of the submission to PDC, please.
Yeah, I think we should mention that it kind of addresses the three needs of the park. With the ticket booth, that the Parks Department wanted to maintain their office and locker room area, and that it adds much needed family bathrooms to a very busy playground that we are, we as a community board have supported that beautiful play space. And, yeah, I think, and it's in the matter that it's, built for flooding. That's terrific. And it has a green roof and it's, I think contextually it's an adaptive reuse. I mean, other people can join in there, but I thought it was, the many points that were brought up really resonate with things we support.
I'd like to put in my concerns that it's big and tall.
I don't know if I think you're in the minority on this one, Tammy.
I
And I
might
don't know
be,
about-
but I'm asking. That's what I see here.
I don't agree with that, Tammy.
Okay.
And I don't have a problem with the size for 2 stalls.
And I have a concern that there's no other way to get to the public restrooms. That, much to what Eric was saying, I kind of agree with him that if there's no way for somebody, then you're almost inviting people to go into the playground, to go into the bathroom, which there's no security, so there's no stopping. There's no public facing side to
You
it.
think
So
there should be signs saying bathroom this way?
Yeah, I mean, I
So
think,
Tammy, sorry to interrupt, is your comment predicated on the bathrooms associated with the restaurant being permanently closed?
I think if we're only putting in bathrooms specifically for the playground, they need to have functional operating hours listed on them. And it needs to be there has to be signage that says that they're not general public bathrooms. Because
enough.
Yeah, they can't say that, but they can do their hours of operation.
yeah, we can put that in the resolution that we are strongly support that the other public restroom stays open and available through whatever construction takes place with the other building. And that this is an addition.
The gates of the playground are locked.
Mhm.
The gates of this will be locked after dusk, basically.
Yeah.
It's not at all unusual citywide for there being restrooms within a fenced playground that are therefore only open during the hours that the fences are unlocked.
Yes.
I definitely understand and know that this particular area, and especially all over Lower Manhattan, where such a dearth of public restrooms are, that I think there has to be operating hours of the bathroom, and they have to be noted that they are primarily for families utilizing the playground.
Yeah.
Has to-
Right, they're open to everybody.
Well, the Staten Island Ferry is pretty close too.
They're
But you can get-
Richard, they're not, because if you're a single adult and you walk into that playground, you can be reported. You're not allowed to actually be a single adult in New York City playgrounds without a children's playground without a child. It's
It's not
actually
true.
against the rules. That's the way they operate all over. If you're in West Thames Park and you don't have,
It's not-
there's a sign there.
There's the searching. You can do this a rule, but it's not true. No one. And we are facing that.
It depends on the park.
Okay, so we have I see another hand.
Sorry, we have.
David, is that you?
I wonder if some of this can be addressed by having signage indicating where another public bathroom is, wherever that might be. Because if you're looking, there's a bathroom. If that's not the one you're supposed to use, you want to know where that one that you can use is. Whether it's in a restaurant or somewhere else, the nearest one could be pointed out.
I can get more clarification on what's going with the restroom bathrooms for you.
Yeah.
And they're nearby, so it's really easy to say where they are, because they're very
But
visible.
if the restaurant then closes, couldn't the sign be put up? saying,
And that's
"Oh,
what
not
people are
in
using
there"?
now.
That's what, and to your point, we haven't finalized the signage. In fact, our notes say that the signage will be finalized in our next submission because but like the sea glass window, which would be the customers or even people walking by sea glass ticket window, that could be a potential where we put a sign up and say washrooms across the way, because that's really
You put it simply,
literally.
if you can't go here, where do you go?
And that will be on the main.
I have a question. Tammy, would you go for signage somewhere nearby? Would you give us a for instance? So we can put it in the resolution?
I think there should be wayfinding signs to point people to where the restrooms are in the park. That's exactly on the outside of the building.
And I think that's a consensus in the
We
room
all
as
agree
well.
on that.
Yes.
I love a
think
sign.
that should go in the resolution.
I do. I love a sign.
So any other positives or concerns to add to the proposed resolution?
And some design, did we say that?
Yeah, I think it's very attractive.
Great.
Yeah.
So somebody seconded this, right?
So,
I'll second it.
okay, so proceeding to a vote, assuming everyone's in support, do we have anyone opposed to the proposed resolution? Any abstentions? Any recusals? Okay,
Thank you.
Okay, we'll be doing it on Tuesday. I mean, next week.
sorry, Paul?
24th, whatever that is.
Sorry, guys, close. Paul, we didn't hear you.
No, you go ahead.
Okay.
We're up to the next item.
Okay.
I have to
moving on.
unmute myself to thank you all.
Thank you.
Thanks, so.
Thank you, Hope, and thank you. Claire.
Okay, on to our second item, an update from the Hudson River Park Trust and their programming. Turn it over to Robert. I think we all know Robert.
Hi, everyone. Hopefully it's steady, always. Camera, all right. I think I have some slides. So I'm gonna break this into two pieces. It's been a little bit since I've been here. First is, we'll do a quick overview and I will bully through it very quickly and then give one more thing on the agenda. I know that, this last one took a little bit. So I'm gonna bully through some student programming, about some of the things that are going on, and then we'll pause, take a brief pause, and then we'll pick up and we'll do some general kind of park updates of some things that have been going on in the park, on and around the park that I think you guys might be interested in. And then obviously we can all do questions. So up first, we have slide one. Let's go to slide two. As you guys may remember, one of the Hudson River Park's missions and core duties is to help provide both educational and cultural experiences for the public. It's part of what we do. We obviously have our River Project Beach, which is a lot of our science and education, some of which I'll be talking more later about. And then we also have a lot of our cultural programming. We really try to do this in a bunch of different ways. We try to do some music and cultural programming to try to help and use that to help make sure that we're inviting sort of a diverse, wide array of communities to the park. We try to help keep up our public portion, park portion of it, which is really some of the exercise and fitness piece. And then we also have sort of a wide range of things that are kind of generally fun, plus all of our science and education. I have a stack of programs that people have them here. I'll leave them for the folks to give out. So we have a number of returning favorites this year. These are things that we've done before. We have our Healthy on the Hudson. This is throughout the park where we have our free exercise classes. down at Pier 25, we have conditioning, which is kind of a wide ranging thing. Sometimes it's hits, sometimes it's fun activities. We have stuff at Pier 46, Pier 64, and Pier 97. Earlier in May, we kicked off the season with our Submerged Marine Science Festival. So this is where we bring in, this year we had over 35 exhibitors, all things marine science, fun activities for kids, touch tanks, experiences for them to experience wildlife. We have the birds and turtles, a science stage full of kids performers. We have on that, this is our second year making it a 2-day festival. So we had our first day, which is the Friday, and that where we have school trips. This year we had just over 1,000 school kids come through on field trips, which is really an amazing experience. I believe it was over 35 schools came, and with that, we did it. That number reflects the fact that we lost about 2 hours of other programming due to rain and thunder. We had some lightning rolling in, and unfortunately we had to evacuate the pier when that sort of thing happens. On the Saturday, the day after, we had actually lovely weather. It's a fabulous day in the park, one of our best ever. We had over 4,500 attendees who came out to experience the festival. It's a really fun day. It's a great way to kick off the season. It's really a lot of fun to have all the kids get to enjoy a lot of the science pieces. One of the way, and I'll point these two out, one of the ways we have used programming, and I think CB1 may remember, folks who've been around a long time may really remember from the earliest days in the 90s of Hudson River Park Conservancy, is that we really try to use our programming to help activate sort of underutilized or interim static to help people really see and believe in the concept of the park. I have some fabulous photos from Pier 25 and 26 of mini golf on what was then a derelict pier of a dance floor. There's some fabulous photos of a very young Marie Doyle dancing on it. Well, you can see up at Pier 76 here, we have our Sunset Salsa series. This is a weekly sunset dance series. You can come learn first hour is salsa, then it's open dance. And later on, you'll see we have a different program up there, as well as our Blues Barbecue Festival happening up on Pier 76. That's coming this fall. All things blues, blues music and barbecue. You hope you guys will make the journey north. Come see us. Let's keep moving. All right. So with this, you'll see Dance and Life. That's also on Pier 76. It's a high energy, Latin inspired hustle program. So this is very young, very diverse, really wild dance. A lot of people come. They come all dressed to the nines. It's a really fabulous one. We also, we're not going to do a flag here. We have a number of our other concert series. So we have Pier 97, we have Blues by the Boardwalk. Let's cancel.
We're gonna cancel.
It's not fair. Sorry, guys, we're having a little technology problem.
Not sure who that is.
It's very fine.
Keep going.
Yeah, if you share me, there we are. Let's share again, maybe. So we have Blues by the Boardwalk at Pier 97. We have Jazz, which is one of our longer running programs at Pier 84. We also have Broadway by the Boardwalk. And so this is Broadway by the Boardwalk, one of our newest programs. This is where on Monday nights you can come see Broadway stars up in Clinton Cove. This is a really fabulous program. So it's Broadway's night off. It's when theaters are dark. We have a fabulous lineup that I'm dying to tell you about, but we are currently waiting for the announcement to come out. I think it's coming out next week, and it's killing me that I can't share it with you. It's going to be amazing. With some really great performers lined up. We just expanded this from a 4-week to a 6-week series. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be excellent. Some really great performances for that. So very intimate. These are a lot of Broadway stars. Just them on a stage, maybe them with their friend who plays guitar. They sing Broadway songs, they sing their songs from the shows they're in, they sing songs that they have either made up or covers. It's a really great intimate experience. People will be able to interact with some of fans will be able to interact with some of their stars.
When and where did you say that was?
So that is on Monday night up in Clinton Cove. All of this, if you want to not write it down, it's in the brochure that I gave you. All right, let's keep going. So this is some of our amazing science and education program that we have going on. We have our wet lab look-ins. This is a research aquarium at Pier 40 on the south side. This is a legacy piece from the River Project, the original River Project. These are where we have our traps where we catch fish from the Hudson River and we keep them in our tanks in a flow-through aquarium system. So the water from the Hudson River is flowing all the way through these tanks and back out. So the fish and the organisms that we have are able to really continue to exist in the marine environment they would have otherwise been in. We have a number of our visitor researchers who use the space. It is a research aquarium. When I say it, I mean it. But what we have is we have open hours where folks can come. We have our educators on hand who can help teach everyone who comes, kids, adults, about the fish we have in the Hudson River, about the life we have there. We have this year, I think for the first time ever, we have a horseshoe crab, which our team was thrilled to be able to catch. We know that they're in the river. We don't often see them in our neck of the woods, but we're thrilled to have it. We have an expanding number of crabs, particularly with the addition of Gansevoort and the Gansevoort salt marsh. That's the segment on the north side. We actually have an area where we have crabs that are moving in and into burrows. So we're actually being able to catch more of those crustacean creatures that are often on shorelines that we don't often get on sort of our bulkhead heavy section of Manhattan. We also have park tours, so we have nature walks and shoreline strolls where we go out with experts to either who will talk to you about the birds, the wildlife, or take you through on some other pieces. Particularly shoreline strolls right this year are really quite popular. Those are mostly up at Gansevoort, where we'll teach you through the various features and ecological features of Gansevoort, the salt marsh, the beach, the tide pools, the other things that you can see and experience from there. And then finally, one of all-time crowd pleasers, big city fishing. This happens throughout the park, including here in CB1, where we do catch and release fishing. You don't have to have any experience. You can come with your kid. You can come as an adult. We'll teach you how to fish. We have fishing rods available. We'll teach you how to release your fish safely without harming yourself or the fish. And we'll all have our educators again on hand to help teach people about the life that they are seeing. Keep going. Then we have uptown in Pier 57, we have our guided gallery. This is our Pier 57 Discovery Tank. This is a space where we have rotating exhibits and educational experiences about, along with some tech-inspired games about the river and wildlife. And then this year, we rolled 3 kind of programs that we've had for a while into one new kind of banner, which is Science After Dark. This is our adult education programming. So basically, it's Ask a Scientist, Science Stories, and Back to School. The real way to think of these is that each is a different way of getting involved in science. Each of the tickets, when you sign up, comes with a free beer. We have a beer sponsor. So we're really trying to help get folks engaged in it. So we have scientists who will come talk about current research. They'll come talk about the foibles and experiences of the messy experience that is true active science. And then we have a sort of some lecture series as well with that. They're often very entertaining, educational experiences, and it's really for us a way to reach beyond some of the traditional experiences, field trips and others with kids, to try to hit some audiences that may not have had as much of the ecological education as part of the primary school. It's really an advent of newer curriculums. We really want to make sure that we are training the next wave of stewards, not just from a young age, but those who are currently adults and really make part of decision-making structures as they are. We want to make sure that folks are aware of what's going on in the river and learning about the life around them. There are some really outdated misconceptions about the Hudson River being dead or being toxic, and we really want to make sure that we are sharing the knowledge of sort of the ecological success story that is the Hudson River, the comeback story that it is, and all of the life that you can see in here. It is one of the New York City's largest ecosystems. It's right outside the water, and we want people to be able to know and engage about it. And I think that is my final slide. Yep, let's go. Oh, so this year we have our blue team. These are shoreline cleanups and oyster monitoring. We have reef balls where we will pull them out of the water off the north side of Gansevoort. You can engage, participate in some of our citizen science, help us do it, along with some of our shoreline cleanups. You'll see there we have our waste shark in the water. That's our, we call it the river Roomba. It's kind of the best way to describe it. We also this year are starting a series of pop-up nature stations. So that's where we take some of the experiences and methods that we use in our field trips. So it might be a sewer or soup case. It might be some other lesson experiences. We might bring out microscopes. And we're going to take them to some of our playgrounds throughout the park to try to help engage parents and kids about sort of what's here, help them teach what's expired in the river that they see right there, and then also try to help recruit folks to make sure that we're spreading the word about the other amazing program that our River Project and our educators do. That is my final slide. So we have a wide range of folks. I hope you guys will come out and join us. It's a really great suite of programming. I think we hit a lot of different sectors. There's something for everybody, as we like to say. You certainly can do it. And we'll stop there before I move on to segment 2.
That's a lot. Thank you. It sounds like two great programs. So let's go around. Any questions?
Faster is the request I got. Yes.
Park is beautiful. These activities and attractions sound fascinating and very varied. It sounds wonderful. But as you pointed out, this is a very predominantly bulkheaded area of the city. And you asked, I believe, what's going on the river? What activities do you have or scheduled or actually make available on the river?
That's,
It's maritime.
yeah, that's a great.
East Coast, what are you doing with it?
Yeah, that's a great question. So Hudson River Park, we actually have, it is 5 or 6 access points throughout the park where we partner. Most of them these are operated by our nonprofit boat houses, where we have collectively have the sort of largest on-river free and low-cost boating program in New York City. So this is particularly here in CB1, you guys will be familiar with Downtown Boathouse. They put over 20,000 people on the river every year where they teach people how to kayak, get them engaged with it specifically. And then we have other series of other boathouses. So we have a Village Community Boathouse at Pier 40. We have Hudson River Community Sailing at Pier 66, along with New York Kayak Polo. And then up at Pier 96, we have Manhattan Community Boathouse and New York Outrigger. New York Outrigger is Polynesian paddle sport, so those really long boats with a great arm. So collectively, we put, I believe it's over 50,000 people on the water every year, right here on the Hudson River. It's a really amazing program, and we do it in partnership with nonprofits who help have volunteers and others who help recruit to help make sure that everyone can do it safely.
I think you have some historic vessels moored there too.
We also have historic vessels. Well, you were saying really on the water. So yes, we also have a number of the boats are also on the water. We have a number of historic vessels within Hudson River Park that have historic historic tours. Whatever, the largest and most famous, obviously, being the Intrepid, which is an extraordinarily large ship. And then we have some others. So we have the J.J. Harvey at Pier 66 and down here, and in CB1, we have the Lilac, which is a historic steamboat.
Thank you. I'd just like to make sure we all remember that the waterfront is on both sides.
Yes, it
Thank you
absolutely
very
is.
much.
Other questions or comments?
Yeah, this is great. All that's wonderful. You did it so quickly and efficiently as
I
well.
told you we were going to blow through it.
Did a great job. I just wanted to say that the newest park with the sturgeon is hugely popular still. And all hours of the day, it's hugely popular, and congratulations on that. And then the other thing is, are all of the water features of the other children's playground across the way, is that all fixed and finished now? Do you know?
Yes, absolutely. So that is done. The construction took a lot longer last year than we were hoping. We had some problems with the concrete and the board on it. That has all been resolved. It should all be on.
Yeah, I just hadn't heard.
Yeah, if there was a problem, you should let us know. But at this point, all water features in the park should be on, as far as I'm told. We have a few problematic water stations, water bottle fillers, and some of our water fountains. But otherwise, as I've been told, everything else should be on and operational. Certainly, if there is a problem, you should let us know, so we can send a team to look into it.
So like in CB1, everything's open and working now, as far as you know. So that's great. Not that I know otherwise. I just wanted to check.
Yes, it should be.
Great. Thank you.
The pop-up nature stations. When, where, how are you people notified?
So these are not scheduled. We are just going to show up. We are just going to show up. We have our internal schedule, but we have not put out dates specifically for it. Our goal is to try to get the organic audience that's already in the park in that space.
Okay. I was just gonna comment, I did used to love back in the day when you had batting cage in the park, but that was a long time ago.
A long time ago.
That was a long time.
Great. Great. Tammy?
Well, you know, Robert, so we had a great presentation yesterday from the Environmental Protection Committee And Battery Park City Authority was so excited to say that they donated money to the estuary, which again, I've heard a large significant sum, which is really awesome to hear. What I'd love to understand is what does that mean for the planning of the estuary? I understood what does it allow us to move forward to do? How much more do we need? What more is going to be needed to be
Yeah.
able to make that area complete and finished in CB1?
Absolutely. So let's move on. We're gonna move on to item 2, which are general park updates.
That's right, just before we do, Joe, did you have a question? You're on mute. We can come back to you, Joe. We can't hear you.
I have no question. It was an accident.
Okay, thank you. Over to you.
Okay, great. So first up is the estuarium. I know it's been a while since we've been back to you. The design team has been hard at work on trying to advance design, take in your comments, work with our operations team, with our educators and others on some operational pieces on some of the internal design elements of it. It has been, they've also been doing some things like value engineering, trying to make sure that we are making design choices that where we are reducing costs as much as possible for it. I know that some of the estimating in particular, and I don't have a specific number for you, but it's something that they're hard at work on. I don't want to throw out something without being able to back it up. Has been made much more challenging with the significant and rapid changes in the construction material market. So those are a lot of like things, imports, steel, concrete, other things that one have to import. Base materials, other construction materials have been in flux recently, and I know their team has been struggling on some of those pieces. We do hope to be back with you sooner rather than later with sort of an updated design based on the comments for it. So I'm not going to guess on a number. I'm not going to throw out a number right now, only for us to come back hopefully in the next few months with a revised estimate. So that's where we are on the estuarium. I know it's been a while. We're again hoping to come back to you with a lot more information soon. So I don't have a specific number on that or sort of the totality on what it means. As far as I'm aware, we aren't expecting to fully close the gap, but we are, again, it depends on the total price. I know I don't have a specific number for you on BPCI either, even though I know Richard also asked for it when I sat down. I'll pause there for questions. Yes.
Yes, for the bike path, outside of your park, can we increase the brightness of it at night? The lighting is very poor. And then also, who ensures that it's always functioning? I've ridden on it and sections of it gets dark, or like it's not working, and with the vegetation, it even makes it darker.
So there is on this, it is a complicated piece. Some of the lights, most of the lights are New York State DOTs. Those are the ones between the bike path and there. Some of the lights are city DOTs, which are just in certain areas, specific areas. Some of the lights, particularly those on the west side of the bike path, are Hudson River Parks. I will tell you, I'm not sure anyone except our operations teams actually knows specifically which light is which. And who is responsible for making sure it works, making sure it replaces the power, if it burns out, all of those pieces. If you have a specific area that you think is of concern, please just let us know, flag it for us. There was a period last year where there were some rolling outages on it, and that was state DOT's issue in conjunction with Con Ed and City DOT. That took them a long time to fix. We do work to report these issues. If you report them to us, we will report them to the appropriate authority for it on the bikeway. We're happy to take those sort of reports. We do our best to do it. We do 2 annual light audits, one in the spring and one in the fall, where our operations team goes and looks at basically every light in the park to see if they're working, see if repairs are needed. We also include the bikeway as part of that, so we can make sure that we are trying to stay ahead of these problems. They do obviously crop up. So go ahead, flag them for us. You can send them to me. You can send them to our info box is also a typical place. We will report them to the right place. If there's a specific area that is dark and you think, say, the vegetation is growing in the way of the lights or others, you also just flag that for us, for that, and particularly on the vegetative side, we do maintain the plants along the bikeway. So we are happy to, our operations team's always happy to go take a look to see if a tree can be pruned or something else. On the larger design for the larger lighting design scheme, for it, New York State DOT is currently undertaking a larger redesign of Route 9A. And I think that maybe they have had a recent public comment period. I think it's possibly still running right now. And that would actually be a really great thing to be able to share directly with them. That it is something that the public is concerned about, that you guys want to make sure that they are paying attention to as they look to the future of what the bikeway and Route 9A, which is all part of Route 9A's, should do.
Thank you. Very comprehensive. I know what to do now.
All right, I'm gonna go through some other updates. Feel free to raise a hand and interrupt me. I know I plow through these things quick. It's, I've already taken up half an hour. Earlier this year, the trust replaced the synthetic turf field at Pier 46 with funding from Councilmember Eric Botcher. We are planning to replace the turf at Pier 25 this fall. We are trying to push the replacements, which does require the closure of the turf, to the edges of the season as much as possible. The weather can't be done over winter, unfortunately, because it involves a partial concrete work and is somewhat temperature sensitive. But we didn't want to close them at the same time. So we are moving one from the other. We want to make sure that we always had, particularly for Pier 25, where we do have some, particularly youth sports leagues who use it. We want to make sure that we have an alternative to be able to offer folks, to be able to move people without, to limit the disruption as much as possible, understanding it is still going to be a pain point for those affected. We are currently working with our construction manager on Pier 40 for where we have substantial pieces for the fire suppression system that are going to be going on. That is going to be a significant impact at Pier 40, particularly within the building. I don't have a schedule on where tenants and others will be affected. I will tell you it is something that will move throughout the entire building. All the garage spaces, the trust offices, everywhere in that building will be affected at some point. We are working to obviously minimize any impacts to the fields, understanding their importance. As we have a contractor on, we're able to start looking at things like means and methods and schedules. We'll certainly be sure to try to update people and give people as much notice about when there will be impacts as possible. It is part of both, we have issues with the fire suppression system that need to be resolved, as well as impacts from the new city law that kicked in after for parking garages, after the parking garage collapse here at CB1. That requires some repairs to some of the structural elements on concrete, other things like that. We also recently replaced the Pier 45 shade structures. I will say those have been there. Those were the original shade structures and were put in, I believe, in 2001. We were impressed with how long the fabric had lasted. This has been a good long time, but it was in fact time for them to be repaired. Along the way, we also did some repairs to the metal and other pieces because it was still, again, all original to the park. This is of interest, a little bit out of your area also. The trust has finalized an agreement with Mavic Enterprises, which is Hudson Plate. This is to operate the Gansevoort concession. We're excited to be able to do this. I note this mostly because the family that the operator who operates it also has a restaurant here in Tribeca. So it's a local operator who will be operating a new food concession just inside of Gansevoort Peninsula. We are hoping they'll start build up the next few weeks and are hoping to have it operational this summer.
And that's Ben Benito, right?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, that's good. You're good. They obviously will be working with CB2. I think they are looking to possibly, it is going to be a trial one. So it's a series of 1 year while we both test the market at there for folks who want to purchase things, as well as the market for operators to be able to get some experience in operational pieces before moving into a longer agreement. They are hoping to trial some beer and wine, or light beer and wine along with food, so you can have a beer while you're waiting there for your game. On a more serious note, in early May, an individual operating drove a motor vehicle into the park at the Canal Street entrance where the Port Authority entered to access the Holland Tunnel vent shaft. They were only able to go north just towards closer to the tennis courts. They did hit someone. It was not fatal. With it, they were stopped by the bollards that we have. This is just past the bollards we have, which are planters in this instance, are just past the entrance that Port Authority needs to be able to access, be able to service, and respond to emergencies for the vent shaft. The bollards acted as expected in the way that they were designed. PEP was able to quickly respond, disable the vehicle, detain the operator, and render first aid to the person who was struck. We have raised this issue again with both Port Authority and State DOT to see what else can be done to help secure this area for it. It was designed, we do have a series of bollards in that area to both provide that access while containing it to as minimum a space as necessary for it. So it happened, but we are hoping to try to see what else might be possible here. Our team is in the midst of heavy Pride planning. It is right around the corner, as folks may know. Pride, particularly in the West Village area, is one of the hardest days of the year for us. We have folks who, our whole team works. We are heavy overtime. We have folks who sleep in the office and try to restore the park immediately afterwards. On average, we have somewhere between 8,000 to 10,000 visitors between Pier 40 and West 11th Street. So it is densely packed, big day. Safety is the name of the game. We hire private EMS services, provide custom medicine for folks, many of whom are out there drinking and partying all day long in the hot sun. People drop. This is, I believe, 2 years ago now, PAP was able to saved an individual by supplying with Narcan, as well as supplemental lighting, additional security services with PAP and others to try to help make sure that it's a safe and enjoyable day for everyone who comes to the park, and that our team is able to help restore the space as much as possible. I will add two things on permits. One, this spring, we've introduced a new type of permit in Hudson River Park for run clubs. We see this as a growing marketplace, essentially, particularly on Instagram. They are influencer-driven clubs, many of which have sponsorship deals or are associated with corporate gyms or other things like that that have started to pop up in the park. They would always require a permit. Our rules do not allow for that. You have to have a permit regardless. These run clubs obviously have not been getting them. So we actually have modified some of those rules to kind of help work with the clubs to make sure folks will be able to operate safely. I'll tell you, last summer we had a really growing problem where between 14th Street and Tribeca, we had 3 run clubs that were launching within an hour and a half of each other. So they were also running at the same time, running from the village section through Tribeca and back. One run club was 800 people, another was 250 people, and the third one was 300 people, all running at the same time. Many of whom, one of which was like a dating-based one. So it's about meeting people and engaging and talking to your neighbor, and not at all paying attention to where you're running down to the Esplanade or running in a large clump. Which is obviously impacting the safety for everybody else in the park and the ability for people to enjoy the Esplanade. We want to try to work with folks. We are obviously a very popular place for running. We love our runners. We have our marathoners who work for friends. Like, we know it's a place. Hudson River Park is well designed and well suited for running. We are long, continuous. You can get good distance. You don't have many car crossings. It is a great benefit. But we want to make sure folks are able to do it safely and that all our other users are able to enjoy the park at the same time. So we want to work folks to try to sort of limit some of those crowding, move some of the masses, make sure people have good running etiquette, and more than 2 abreast, watch out for your neighbors. We're not trying to do speed drills down the Esplanade at 5:30 at night when the park is packed to the gills. So it's something that we're keeping an eye on. Obviously, let us know if you guys see issues or things that we should be aware of. A lot of our users are our eyes in the park, and we'll catch things sooner and faster than our team will, even when we're out there. Our field permits continue to be incredibly hot. In high demand, I will say we had over 7,100 hours of play across 63 active leagues in our spring season. So those are 7,100 hours that are given out in hour-and-a-half long increments. Again, 63 active leagues across our 7 fields. We are syncing our season per request from some of our leagues. We're trying to line up with New York City parks as much as possible. So that's spring, winter, and the winter, spring, and fall seasons. We are carving out from the New York City Parks does a spring summer season. Given the number of leagues that do summer camps in Hudson River Park, particularly in around Pier 40, we are maintaining sort of our separate summer season. There is a significant shift in how our leagues use the park and use our fields in the sort of June window to the summer piece of it. I will have two more items. These are some interesting science ones I think you guys may do. Hudson River Park, we have a partnership with the CUNY Research. So we have our visiting, our Research Alliance scholars and visiting scholars that take place in the park. This year, we work with the CUNY Office of Research to give out grants to for folks to come do science in the park. So these are professors and others who apply to do it. They work with students to help come do the research. You often work in as part of a curriculum. This year, we have Dr. Anna Gonzalez-Nyack from Baruch College, who is investigating the effects of microbial gnats on oyster recruitment by surveying the intertidal structures on Gansevoort Peninsula. And we have Dr. Karen Black-Cora from the City College, who is exploring, the sclerochronology of bivalve shells to better understand the past environmental conditions of bivalves that we have in the park. So this is looking back like tree rings, but for oyster shells. Both projects include students and promote the park as a training field for that. We also have 14 different visiting scholars from a wide range of research institutions, not just CUNY, but a wide range of other ones who are conducting research in the park this year. I think it's a similar amount as we had last year. So we work with them to help give them access to park facilities, to help them with, if it includes water sampling, and we are already doing it, to share, to duplicate efforts, to really help expand the amount of science research going on in the park. Part of this is that all of the research that is conducted, we get sort of the results and the papers from it, all of which is made public, all that data is made public on our website. So we are trying to help build year over year a real body of research about particularly our estuarine sanctuary. My final item, as I will share with you, is that this spring, our River Project team partnered with DEC to install a fish receiver on Pier 25. So this is an acoustic receiver array that supports a river-wide initiative to detect fishes that have been tagged with a unique identifier. There is a system that is ran, frankly, it is nationwide, but particularly here on the East Coast, where scientists have tagged fish all up and down. There is a wide array of acoustic receivers along our coasts and harbors all over the East Coast. We know that there are certain fish that pass by the park because there's an acoustic receiver further upriver. And so this is one that is the closest one that's now in the mouth of the harbor here for it. And we are hoping we'll see sometimes it doesn't work. The river's quite wide, that's a distance, there's a lot of boat traffic that can interfere with this signal. So it's a trial, but we're really excited that it will give us, frankly, a much greater vision into the types of fish that are passing through our area. Maybe staying over here, wintering over here, that are using sort of some of our tidal flats. We are hoping to share findings later this year when we have them. It's not quite live, but we are, it is regular. So we are trying to figure out ways that we can try to share the data with the public as well. With there, I will stop. I know I throw a lot of information at people all at once.
One thing you didn't talk about is a little island. How's that going?
Little Island, absolutely. So Little Island, as folks may know, is Pier 55. It is up by 14th Street. It is operated by a tenant. It is a tenant of ours that operates the space. It's funded by Little Island. They are doing great. You folks should check out. I like to call it Hudson River Park's own little delacourt. They have a wide array of programming this season. Tickets are $25. And there are a lot of free tickets as well. For it. They have a huge programming season. It has a number of really creative and interesting plays, experimental theater, some concerts, musical performances, and others. All the information is on their website. Yeah, tickets are $25. I have some mine this season. It's really great. You should check it out. Again, they are some really fabulous shows.
Anyone else?
Richard.
Yes. Turf replacement on 25.
Yes.
When is that going to start and how long?
I don't have a specific start date. We have to work with the contractor exactly on it. I will tell you that Pier 46 was about 6 weeks. And we're trying to work with the contractor to push as late into the fall season as possible. So it's just hopefully as late or closest to the winter season, sports season as we can, so that we can maintain the sports field as best we can in the nice weather.
6 weeks sounds,
That's my current estimate without them having been on site and given us a whole specific thing about sort of any of the concrete or other repairs.
so one issue on the walkway are bikes.
Yeah.
What are you all doing about that?
Yeah, this is an endemic problem for us. So CAP does do a significant amount of enforcement to try to deter bikes, help make sure that bicycle riders are using the bikeway and not our walkway. I will tell you, it's nice and it's inviting. We try to have deterrence on it. We do have signs at a lot of our entrances that folks should dismount. It is an ongoing effort. So that does issue summons every month for folks who are riding on the Esplanade. It can be challenging, particularly for some of the faster moving bikes or others. It's dangerous to say give chase, have to give chase on someone to get them off a bike when they are moving. It is something they do work on to try to give out summonses to others, but we know it's an ongoing problem.
And the summons is what? Is it fine or?
It's a fine. I don't know the number of times.
Sanctuary plan. What's the status of that? How's it going?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have our part of Hudson River Park. Hudson River Park Act requires us to have an estuarine sanctuary management plan. I believe next year is our halfway mark in our plan. I believe it is 2021 through 2031, if memory serves. And so I think we are preparing to do some data collection around that. Every year, our team does estuarine sanctuary management plan report to our board. You want to go watch it? I believe this year is at our January meeting, where we cover all of it. It covers a wide range of things, everything from public access, where we work with things like getting folks on the water for it. We've had some building out the park, which includes things like Gansport and 97 and some of our other spaces, as well as sort of a lot of our science initiatives as well. So it has some of our educational goals, which we are doing an amazing job on. We have about 5,000 kids a year come through our programming for field trips on any given year, as well as I said, last year I think we had 14 visiting scholars for it, and along with our community research program that we're continuing to develop. So we have a really wide range of it. That is in addition to some of our own projects. We have about a dozen research projects that our park, our staff, science staff itself undertakes. Everything from our ongoing fish survey, which is inherited from the original river project, from the largest running trap fish studies in the Hudson River, to newer things like the Hudson River on the river project staff within Hudson River Park sort of piloted eDNA, which is now a much larger system in the Hudson River. So we sample Hudson River water throughout the season and compare the DNA samples that we're able to get from it. So these are tiny little drops of DNA that we've extracted to sort of an existing data set to identify what fish are in the river. It's something we trialed, which was kind of new in the region here. It's now expanded to a really amazing network. You can actually see through the eDNA data sets, you can actually see things like schools of specific schools of sturgeon move past Hudson River Park, and then you see them through our partners further up the river. You can see when they pass up there, so you can see like when they get up like a week later to Norrie Port and others. The data is really amazing to be able to do it. We have our ongoing pathogen study where we sample our river to monitor pathogens, and those are particularly things from like CSOs and others, where we share our data on that. So we have kind of a wide range of it, and we can do it. I'm happy to set up our river project staff to come give you a whole science presentation. I can only do it fast, but yes. So we have things with our science management plan, estuarine sanctuary management plan, are going really well. And we work very closely with our TAC, which is our Technical Advisory Committee, which is our kind of committee of technical experts on the science for it. The data collection helps set priorities, it helps set goals. We have our two large habitat enhancement projects. So that's both one in Tribeca, that's just north of Pier 26, between 26 and 34, and then the north side of Gansport, where we have about 35 million oysters in the water. We have our two research projects going on how those are going. We're seeing some really interesting results as they get started to mature. So we are seeing both a lot of wild oyster recruitment. We're seeing the growth on those, what's working, what's not on the habitat enhancement. And so we're trying to help inform future habitat enhancement efforts in the region.
Yes, thank you for explaining everything. It's comprehensive.
Tammy and Paul, Would love for us to schedule an estuary sanctuary management plan report, readout, in either this committee or environmental protection. I'm not sure which one, but I think it'd be really good to do on its own.
I think Tammy was at the board meeting where our scientist, our team did the presentation. Is that right, Tammy? It's pretty, much like this, like when you start rolling it all up, it all is kind of amazing to see it all together.
That's very cool.
Yeah, the sanctuary management plan was really an essential part of the agreement.
Yeah.
With Hudson River. Their project, trust and formation, ongoing formation, TAC and state really. So very critical to the maintenance of trust and river.
Yeah, so, the estuarine sanctuary is one of our really unique features as a park. And so it's something that obviously we've invested a lot in trying to do. There are a series of overlapping management plans right now. So Hudson River Foundation has it, DEC has one, others that are kind of for the whole region, including the estuary, including the sections that we have. We've actually been working across some of the agencies, including with folks in New Jersey and others, DEC, to try to help layer those in together to make sure that the plans are talking to each other and interconnected, and not sort of having individual documents. Something that the park is really trying to help foster, so that we are looking at it as a holistic estuary. Our estuary, we have our 400 acres, which sounds like a lot, but compared to the length of the Hudson River or even the size of the estuary, we are a small blip. So we're able to really help foster a lot. We know the water passes through here, right? The tide moves twice a day, passes by us. We are one part of it, but we don't own the river. So we really have to work with those partnerships and build that coalition across the region as we work together.
Any other?
So I was just curious, and all that was great. So I was just curious, the vendors that you have, are they responsible for maintaining what they rent from you? Because I mean, the gardens are always such a treat. I go quite a lot. I'm an avid gardener, but I've been disappointed around like the volleyball and the mini golf. I feel like it's gotten very weedy and it's not as, it's very different than the rest of the park. And I don't know if you maintain it or somebody else maintains it. Or, it just seems out of character with the rest of the park, especially where you have the grass and the, all the, I mean, it's just lush, so that, and then the other piece of it is that, you've had like your friends initiatives and, between the vendor costs, in terms of what you raise from them and the friends initiatives, I know money is always an issue. How, do you have a 30,000-foot view of, money in, money out? How are you feeling about the finances of the park? You're obviously running so many programs for free, which is very much appreciated by the city and the neighborhood. But, I'm just curious about that. And then, I'm always wanting it to be a little more consistent garden-wise, because you set such a high standard.
But we do have very high standards for it. I think a lot of those planting beds, and I will ask our operations team to take a look. I think a lot of those are done by us directly. So I'm happy to try to take a look to see what more we can do to help bring those alive. On it, the Pier 25 area in particular is so jam-packed.
Right.
And really has a lot of those planters. So we are happy to have folks take a look.
Yeah, it's just a little out of character with the
Yeah.
other.
We appreciate the feedback. I'm definitely.
Sorry, I'm just a nitpicker.
No, not at all. And on the financial side, as folks may know, and I'll have to explain this, Hudson River Park is self-supporting, or supposed to be self-supporting to the maximum extent possible. And so money generated from within the park, from our concessionaires, from our vendors, say City Winery, or some of our larger tenants, Chelsea Piers, parking at Pier 40, gets reinvested back into the park. So the trust stay money within the park and stays within the park, and that was always the design. I would say that we are an operating success. Every year, the park pays its own bills. We pay for all of our partners. We pay for PEP. We pay for all of our salaries, all the gardeners, all the plants, all our free programming, so our investment in the sanctuary, all of that. The piece that is challenging is sort of long-term capital maintenance. And it's something that the park has really talked about before. So things like when a basketball court needs to be redone, or the turf which we were talking about, those are things that the park often pays for directly. We try to apply for city capital funds, we try to go for state capital funds, from elected officials, others, but a lot of it is the park paying for it directly. Those things on a smaller scale, we are able to accommodate. Once you start getting on once you get on a larger scale, the trust the expense rapidly exceeds what we're able to do. We know as the park ages, those costs are gonna come due. So things like Pier 45, where in the past year, we've replaced the decking, we've replaced the shade structure, we've redone the lighting, we had to redo all the electricity, which was damaged in part by Sandy. It requires a larger investment. The pier deck, the pier pilings will similarly, in the coming years, will start requiring more and more maintenance. Newer piers, they have a shelf life before you have to start doing ongoing maintenance. And even with ongoing maintenance, eventually you need to do things like rebuilding. Pier 40 is an example. We inherited a pier in terrible condition. They were metal pilings that were supposed to be electrified to keep them from corroding that the state turned off and left for 30 years and rotted, and now we've had to pay an extraordinary amount to do it. We know a lot of those costs are coming. So when we have things like a bulkhead repair, if we have more than one of those or things like that, we will exceed the trust capacity to be able to pay for it. And so that's what a lot of what we've talked about with the need for things like our ongoing operating revenue and trying to make sure we're maximizing it from the park, places within the park that were designated under the River Park Act as sort of those commercial generators. Pier 40 being a key one, uptown further north, as we talked about, we have Pier 76. Pier 76 will need to be rebuilt in its entirety. It's kind of not meeting a dual legislative mission. It's designated under the River Park Act, supposed to act as amazing public open space, and up to 50% supposed to be to help generate operating income. It is doing either right now. It's a flat open pier. We inherited it. All the piles need to be replaced. It will need to be rebuilt essentially from scratch. Simply to get us back to the place we are today, the public portion of it, so that's about half of it, it's going to cost about $150 million. We do not have that kind of money. We are very lucky to get a recent capital investment from the state on part of its redevelopment, and we will hoping to get a match from the city in the future, which will get us as we have with all our other piers, Pier 25, Pier 26, Pier 45 at the time, Gansford, others built it first. We much harder to get that kind of large capital investment for major repair where it's all unseen, underwater, out of visible real estate to say we have to invest, the governor and mayor have to invest $20 million for nothing to change, that nothing that anyone can see can change.
That's right.
It's really hard. We know that is. So that's what we've talked about as part of it. And it's the ongoing challenge. It is sort of it is a future challenge. It's not necessarily a day challenge. We at the Trust talk a lot about, we want to make sure that we are not leaving the problems that we inherited for our successors. I don't want the next generation of Trust leadership to have to make tough decisions about, say, like we may in the coming years on Pier 76, closing portions of it because it's unsafe. I live in fear that engineers can tell me at some point there's a square in the middle of Pier 76, so I have to wall off because it is no longer safe to stand on, which happened at happened down here, it happened at Pier 54, it happened at Pier 97 at one point as the trust has gone through these things over the years. So that's kind of where we are today.
Can I suggest, this is a really significant topic and it's been years and years and years of discussion and usually triggers a lot of questions. Just in the interest of time, can I suggest if someone has questions, follow up with Robert offline? Otherwise, we're going to be here.
We have questions, and that's a brilliant idea.
This topic always generates thousands of
I've
questions.
got 3 more in this. Wait.
Okay. And I'm mouthy, so I overshare.
I've learned so much. I'm serious.
Andrew, we could also suggest that people come to the advisory council meeting or watch the videos from the trust board where they did some incredible detailing of like the scientist work and stuff like that. We can share those videos. Robert could share them at any point.
Yeah, and in addition to that, Robert mentioned Pier 40 and Pier 76 as sites for commercial activity. CB1 has participated in working groups that have been formed around that. So as those perhaps come back to the table, we'll have reports coming back from that.
Yeah, that's definitely one of my questions.
Yeah, absolutely.
Great, thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Boy, it's a lot of.
Sorry, Titanic. Apologies.
No problem. Yeah.
That's great.
Okay, our third and final topic does involve a resolution. Paul and Tammy, I might look to you on this. I think you both have had more follow-up on this than I have. You may recall we had the Titanic New York group come before us to present an idea of a memorial museum, some type of Titanic commemorative structure on Pier 16, I believe. If it was a conceptual idea, but you know, they did have some visuals and concepts that they presented. And I think the thinking was they've gone to some elected officials to have discussions around this. The electeds sort of directed them to CB1. So it's appropriate for CB1 to issue a resolution based on what has been presented to us to date. Tammy and Paul, is that an accurate representation?
Yeah, but let me just report on a conversation I had today with Jonathan Bolware, who is the president of the Seaport Museum, and he provided me with a letter that summarized their view on this. Should I read it?
I've circulated that letter. Everyone has it in front of them.
He asked me if I could read it. Do you mind?
Yeah, for those who are not there,
Sure.
could you read it?
Okay,
please?
it's not long. Okay, it's to me and to Chair Meltzer. Thank you for the invitation to join Manhattan Community Board One's Waterfront Parks and Cultural Committee meeting this evening. Unfortunately, I cannot attend, but I am sending comments related to your questions about the proposed large tower on Pier 16. Foremost, I'd like to note that the CB1 committee presentation in May and the subsequent Tribeca Trib article were the first that the museum learned of this proposal. As a land use matter, the East River Pier 16 is a part of a long-term lease to the Seaport Museum by the city for its cultural, historical, and educational use. And we are the entity responsible for stewarding the pier and historic vessels stocked there. We have not been contacted by the presenting group with this proposal. Accordingly, we're reacting without context. Needless to say, such a structure is not within the museum's long-term plans for Pier 16. The Titanic story is indeed compelling, but we believe the story of Titanic tragedy can be sufficiently interpreted using a museum approach consistent with best practices, such as those adopted by the Seaport Museum in accordance with the American Alliance of Museums. We also believe that the existing Titanic Memorial Lighthouse, which is a permanent part of the museum's collection, sufficiently commemorates the tragedy. We are in the midst of a substantial renovation to that structure, which will contextualize the loss for future generations. We also note that the board, along with preservation organizations and city agencies, have repeatedly rejected proposals for tall structures at the water's edge of the South Street Seaport Historic District. We are, of course, enthusiastically in support of recognitions of the sea-connected histories of New York. Indeed, our acclaimed and newly opened show, Maritime City, celebrates exactly this. This proposal, as presented, particularly without any communication with the museum, does not advance the cause. Respectfully and with appreciation for CB1's hard work on behalf of the city, it's signed by Jonathan Bolware, president and CEO of the museum. And I don't know how much else has really gone on. I don't think that much has happened since our meeting. You know, at the meeting, a lot of issues were raised by a lot of people who had some concerns, especially about a very tall building on Pier 16. And that's where it was kind of left. And I certainly got the impression that the board was not favorably inclined towards this proposal, but other people should speak up.
Richard?
At the prior meeting, and still, after reviewing the proposal once again before tonight, and possibly that reading, listening to Jonathan's letter, I remain adamantly opposed to this proposal on so many grounds that it's hard to even begin, least of which is the structure, but also the idea of it being essentially an entertainment proposal, profit-making, or at least highly expensive. I don't know if the organization is for-profit or not-for-profit. But this is not at all what a museum or commemoration experience should be, in my view, in any way, shape, or form. And I, for one, think that there are much more, if we're going to put things on the pier, forget about the size of that or the type of structure. There are more significant things that New York would commemorate than the loss of the Titanic. So I'm opposed to it in its entirety.
Tammy?
So I wanted to let you know that the gentleman Adrian Sacker, did send me another note. It's a little confusing because they are very much claiming that they're following the EDC plans and they're hoping to meet with EDC. I asked them why they never went to CB4, where the Titanic was supposed to land, right? It was never coming to us. It was always going over to the west side. And, their comment was, well, they never presented a CB4, and Little Island is on top of what was the former White Star liner. But again, that's the side that was more distant. And then he sent me a statement, but I'm very confused because when we did a resolution in 2020 about the repairs for the Titanic Memorial Lighthouse, that was always being done not for particularly his group, but it was because the South Street Seaport Museum was wholly looking to renovate it. We put it in budget and funds and things like that. So there's commingling of information that he sent me in an email that I still need to suss out the veracity in it. And I don't want to say either way, but he was unknown to us. So when he says, for example, their group received an unprecedented 43-0 resolution for the restoration of Titanic Memorial Lighthouse, that was actually done with South Street Seaport Museum and city budgets. So I'm a little confused as to what's going on. He notes in here that it's just very different and disassociated with the museum itself, which is concerning for us. I don't want to put the community board in the middle of anything in between the two groups, right? And then I just know that what we have fought for on 15, 16, quite frankly, the roof of 17, and everything else that's gone on is public recreational space, both passive and active. to have our waterfront on the east side has some kind of parity with what we have over on the west side with, after we've listened to Robert's amazing presentations, right? Things that are along the Hudson River Park Trust or over in Brooklyn and things like that. Me personally, I don't see this fitting in with any of those dialogues and conversations. He didn't take any of, it's not, and I'll leave my comment there. But that was the end of it. That's the end of my statement from his email to me this week. And I'm happy to share it with anybody who would like it.
Tammy, one question I have regarding his email, which we have one copy of it here, I think. How do we reconcile Bulware's statement about Pier 16 being basically under their purview pursuant to a long-term lease, and Adrian's comment about EDC's plans to perhaps widen Pier 16 and do some other potential work on it? How do we reconcile those two?
Very easy. It's true. The South Street Seaport Museum is Pier 16. They have the long-term lease, much like Howard Hughes, now Seaport Entertainment Group, has the long-term lease on 17. So all of those things are actually true. Where EDC is looking to make economic development decisions and changes when they're looking at our waterfront are related to the Five Seaport Master Plan, which we have opined and argued with because they want to get rid of 15, widen 16, but we have said that we didn't want to lose the public deck that's there on 15, and that we want that actually preserved. So the question in the conversations and the EDC's goal to add 19 as a pier do bring into questions based on what happened with the Mexican tall ship lately, as of late, that those plans are still in flux. But the one thing that we have asked for that we definitely need is for public, open, passive, and active recreation space. There is no reason that we can't have a Ganzenbort type pier, a pier, for example, that there's other things to be discussing and doing. And this, I'm not really sure why lighthouses don't belong where he's talking about it. The Coast Guard and the US have sunset all of their operational lighthouses. So it's, I don't know what he's talking about for the Coast Guard, because there is no port of the city of New York either. The Port Authority of New York and New Jersey are the ones that operate our ports. So there's a lot of information that isn't necessarily accurate or relevant. And quite frankly, it would absolutely ruin any views from the pedestrian areas back and forth of the bridge. Let's be honest. You would no longer be able to see the Brooklyn Bridge from places in Lower Manhattan because of this.
So I guess just more specifically, if the museum has a long-term lease on Pier 16, how can anything happen on Pier 16 from a commercial standpoint without it involving the museum?
To my understanding, it cannot, but
that's not the issue before us.
That's right. The issue before us is Andrew, let me hold on, but Andrew, that's a point. Here's a greater point. We received a call from the senator's office because they had been told that the community was in support of this resolution, of this proposal. And my comment was the community never saw it. So the person shopped it forward saying that the community already supported it. So then they were told they had to come back to the community board. In his presentation, he said, Senator Kavanaugh supports it. And I checked and I said, Senator Kavanaugh's office, have you supported this? And they said, no. What we told them to do is go to the community board. So
I
we
think
do
they
need to
just
say
lost.
something.
That's true.
You mean,
I agree, I guess. I agree. I guess what I'm saying is, given information that I wasn't aware of, that the South Street Seaport controls Pier 16, doesn't it somewhat obviate the issue that is before us? There's no issue before us because the party coming to us is not the leaseholder on Pier 16.
While
So
I
I
would
agree
tell,
if you say
while I would
something,
tell
but-
you, yes, Andrew, I would say normally you are correct. However, what we have seen in New York City is EDC do many things for many reasons. And so it's a proposal that's been brought to the board. We need to opine whether this is something we want in our community. Some people, there were people who thought it was interesting. Other people say nay. Other people say nay. We have what the Seaport Museum has said. We just need to go on record. That's basically it.
Yeah, and again, I agree, going on record, I guess I'm proposing, are we on record as saying the issue presented before us really has no standing, given that we understand the party that's presented it? It is not.
Or we can certainly comment on whether we like the idea of a tower at the end of Pier 16. And I think the clear consensus of the committee and the people who discussed it was no, they don't. Andrew, I know you were a little agnostic on the issue, so I won't say anything further except that I think it was pretty clear that the committee as a whole did not support it. And I would make a motion tonight that we clearly state our opposition to that, and that's
I
go on
second the
record.
motion. I second the motion. I second the motion. Let's get on with our business of voting.
Apologies.
Well, the issue's been put on the
Excuse,
floor and seconded, so I don't know. Should we just vote?
parliamentarian.
You have to vote.
We have to vote, if somebody seconded it.
You have to.
So the scope
Okay.
of the resolution is essentially opposed to the idea as presented,
Correct,
right?
correct.
To a tower, we should say any tower on Pier 16 is inappropriate.
It's more than that. It's more than just the tower. It's the whole
If I may.
proposal.
Mr. Shacker has already indicated that he's perfectly happy to change the design.
Right.
Yeah, because this is basically a bubble. He'd love to see it discussed as much as possible in as many quarters as possible. Historically, the memorial he's talking about was a Coenties slip. Or you might conceive of it as being where the Carpathian landed, the White Star lands on the west side. There is no historic reason to put anything here on the end of Pier 16, and I would offer that there are better things to do with the end of Pier 16.
The motion has been, the motion's been, we have to take a vote. There's no more talking. We have to take a vote.
Agreed.
So Joe, I think we're just discussing what
We
exactly is the
can't
resolution.
discuss it. The motion was second. Everyone's against it. Let's get on with the meeting.
How about this?
No,
Thank you.
what are we against? That's what we're discussing. We're, sorry, what is the resolution?
We're against the proposal.
Well, I would say,
How simple is that?
That's all.
what did he say?
Can you repeat that?
The proposal is we're against the implementation of the lighthouse on Pier 16. The board's a proposal to put the structure on 16. We're voting it down. That's it. It's simple.
And do you want to go a little further and comment about a tower in general on that site?
Yes.
Structure. Tower can be.
Let's go no tower on that site.
I'd like to go around the table. Is that the consensus?
I think if you say tower, to your point, that they might change the building,
Yes.
I think we're you're opposed to a commercial, to this idea.
Yes.
All right, okay, fine. If that's what,
Because to Tammy's point, we want to activate the waterfront for, public recreation and passive use,
Yes.
So I think it's inconsistent with what the board has historically asked for along those, piers.
So it's just a simple no to the proposal, the RPR 16.
As presented, proposal as presented,
Don't-
we are against it.
Don't overthink it.
Okay,
Sounds good to me.
that's fine.
I guess if he comes back with another proposal, we can send him to that too.
all right, do you want to put it to a vote, Andrew?
Sure. So resolution essentially opposing the proposal that was submitted, assuming everyone's in favor. Anyone in opposition? Any abstentions? Any recusals? Okay, passes unanimously.
Done.
I think that is our final agenda item. Paul, anything else?
Yeah, I think we've done it, we accomplished a lot tonight.
It's confusing.
I think we have one more topic, Paul, if I'm not mistaken.
What is that?
So, I came tonight, I am Therese Flores, I'm the regional manager for Parks. I
Very
came
patient.
tonight to, just respond to something that's going on. It's, there's a lot of rats in Hanover Square. Don't know where Hanover Square is, on William Street, Pearl Street, Hanover Street. And Joel brought this to my attention yesterday, and we walked through and looked at all the problems that are going on there. I brought it to district service cabinet this morning and made BSNY aware of some of the conditions in the neighborhood, some of which we are causing and addressing. Being that we had our trash out on the street for pickup, and we're containerizing, we put our tilt trucks. And we're looking into getting improvements to garbage bins, because they've discovered the rats are coming in from the bottom and getting to the liner, and generally it's a lot of rats. And it's, Elizabeth Garden, aka Hanover Square, is, we've had the Elizabeth Garden, who was maintaining the site and paying for rodent abatement and dealing with a lot of the trash for us. And right now, and that was under cuts recently. And they're going through a transition in management leadership. And so that rat abatement has not been happening. And you can really see the difference. I've also heard that a nearby property has changed its horticultural space, and a lot of the rats may be moving here in this park, but it's really visible that there's a huge problem. So we're addressing it as quickly as we can. And grateful that Joel brought it to our attention and continues to stay on top of it. He alerts me every time he sees a rat hole, and we send our team to address it, but it's not enough. So we're trying to come up with a better way to address all of the trash in the community that is affecting the park, including 5 Hanover Square, which is putting its trash out of the park property for collection. Today was a messy pile 11 o'clock this morning. They have a picture of. So I feel like we're trying to come at from all angles. I'm going to speak with health things. Bragdon is her opinion on addressing this better. I may even look at horticulture improvements, which will really change the way that the rats experience that garden. So that we can get on.
Thank you.
It's a new fiscal year, so hopefully we'll be able to find a way to address things quickly. At the moment, we can't do it immediately, so we're waiting for that.
Did you get anywhere with the containers?
You mean the trash cans or our container?
Replacing them with those containers.
Yeah, that's what we're looking into. We're looking into it in the fiscal year.
The rats are so out of control. As we were standing there, they were just running by our feet. And they're making babies, and there's a school there. It's now for autistic and challenged kids. When they come out to the thing in the restroom, one of the kids, it's really gotten to a point where it's dangerous.
We're gonna get.
They're not afraid. They come out all hours of the day, they feed, they breathe, they sleep, and they come out. And it's gotten to the point where we need to be creative, whether it's changing the entire vegetation of the park, where they're nesting, changing the containers, actually move some of the containers off there, reducing the containers, having pickup sanitation, so there's no food left in the park, but it's seriously dangerous out of control. I mean, it's quite.
Can I suggest that you discuss this or make sure that Zach is aware of this issue? Because this is an issue that should be handled by the district cabinet for a start. So
Yep.
let him make sure he knows about it and have a follow-up conversation. And Onedge, maybe you could be helpful in that.
Yes, Paul. So Paul, this conversation was brought up at District Service Cabinet this morning, and that's why Teresa is here today.
Okay, I didn't know this was going to be discussed tonight, and that should have been clarified. Anyway, thank you for pointing it out, though.
And
I
thank
think
you for coming. Apologies,
we
we
can-
didn't know.
We can probably do a follow-up letter. We've supported the garden before. I think we had it in budget
Many
and
times.
so many times. So we can easily do something because we have resolutions on file to help elevate the ask. So no problem. Are you
So-
not getting any money from the partner organization for that park though? That's one of my strange questions.
Well, there's a transition in their leadership, so it's not like they've said they're not funding the park. It's just that, Isabel was a huge part of making things happen and she hasn't passed. And I'm sure that's been caused, you can't find a leader like her over there. I'm sure.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, let's see what we can do to try and make this functional and feasible. All right.
Great, thank you. So
Thank you.
motion to adjourn? Seconded? Great, thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Earl.